Stephen Shields Radio Show.
Hello, Wisdom. I'm back right now for you on the Stephen Shields Radio Show. And this is awesome. And I feel great to be alive today, right now. You know, and it's just awesome to just be up and about and hosting the morning episode, the morning podcast on wisdom. It's always a blessing to be here right now. But, you know, a lot has changed, I guess. I feel, there's been a lot of conspiracy theories out there with about aliens existing and crop circles out there and, the Yowie and all that stuff. And I do think that there is some truth to a lot of these conspiracy theories as well. However, look, I've never seen any aliens in the world. I've never encountered any extraterrestrial. I've never known for that stuff to happen, And I think I mean, what can I say? Like, do aliens exist? Has anyone been abducted by aliens? And there, like I said, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. There's a lot of hoaxes too. I've done when you do your research about hoaxes, people do generally, Photoshop things online, and I think when people doing that stuff, I feel that sorry about that. I feel that people need to find out the truth if they do exist or not, I guess. Now, to me, I firmly believe that, look, I've never seen any aliens. I would have to see it to believe it if aliens did exist on Earth. Now, there's definitely a place in America, in the Nevada desert somewhere, called Area 51. If you've ever heard of Area 51, it's a top secret US military base. Bob Lazar was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he claimed that he was reverse engineering alien uh, you know, aircraft spare parts and all that shit. And it's just, yeah. Now, like I said, I have to see it to believe it, guys, for it to be true with aliens. You know, I think there is a lot of misinformation out there in the big wide media. Media do like to stir up trouble if they do see UFOs. I mean, if you've seen a UFO, great. Let me know. But I would have to see it in person to be able to believe it. I think too that we have to know that what it is that we do believe in, and we've got to see that, yeah, who is it that we need in the world as well. All right, I'll bring this guest on. Let's see.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. I was just listening in to you, and I just wonder, have you ever looked up the definition of alien?
No, not yet. It's something I got to do.
Yeah, if you do that right now, I'm gonna patiently wait, and then you tell me what is your
Well, have
perspective.
you seen any aliens?
Yes, all the time.
And what's been your
But
experience?
I want to be fair before I get into what, because see me, I like to talk about things that is real and tangible, even if it was not seen, right?
Mm,
By knowing what the truth is, because then we'd be going off of opinions. So if
yeah.
you would really if you would look up what is an alien and share it right here, then we'll be able to you would see my side. You better understand where I'm coming from.
Let me have a look. Okay, it's a person from another entity or another universe. Okay, like I said, if I was to see an alien in person, that's when I'd believe it. I'm talking about the ones from outer space.
But listen,
Uh,
so when you learn about an alien, if you look up what is an
mm,
alien, it'll tell
mm-hmm,
you it's someone from a different citizenship, a different
mm,
nation, a foreign
mm,
person.
mm,
We have foreign people from different countries and different nations everywhere. So now, what would
mm-hmm,
be your perspective of an actual alien? So if you get to talking about extraterrestrials and things like that, you would have to understand also celestials, because
mm,
those are things that can actually take over a human figure. They can actually shapeshift into a human looking person. So, how would anyone efficiently say if they have seen one or not? Because if it's a shapeshifter and it can turn into a human or it can turn into a animal or whatnot, who's to say if you have
mm-hmm,
ever seen one or not? You wouldn't even know at this time if you have or not, because of the perspective that the world have taught us aliens look like, when they get into like the
mm,
grades and all this stuff. But if
mm,
you get into the real of it, um, someone body could have been hijacked by a different type of spirit. And this is the thing, these are principalities, things that people cannot see. That's just like,
mm,
if you're used to being nice all the time and then all of a sudden you end up being mean or evil to somebody, and that's usually not you, how would someone then look at you? They can be like, oh, he had to been taken over or something by an alien or a different spirit because he was not himself. So when you hear that kind of language, that's basically saying something's different, which is meaning weird, or if you say weird, meaning something is different about that person, meaning they are no longer acting like themselves. So if you get down and technical with the things of what's real today, it
Mm,
would be hard for people to look for an alien because they have a one way thinking or a perception that was indoctrinated into them and to us as humans being what is a alien.
mm. Yeah, well, I was referring to what they call the greys that you hear about in the movies, those type of aliens. And like I
Mm,
said, people have photoshopped UFOs and claim they're real and deceiving people. But my
mhm,
opinion was I would have to see it in person to be able to say yes, they are real. Now I
mm,
understand what you're saying. People do hide that the government do like to cover things up. You remember the Roswell
mhm,
crash. Uh,
mhm.
Now the government did deny it, but it could have been a UFO. Have you seen any UFOs in the sky?
Well, if you're asking me, I'm gonna be honest.
Hmm.
Have I personally seen a UFO? Now,
Hmm.
have I seen um them put on TV for as like meteorites and stuff? Because
Hmm.
see, I'm trying to be real with you. When you learn about
Hmm.
asteroids and meteorites, those are also called UFOs because they
Hmm.
come with technology on them. They come
Hmm.
bringing different pesticides. They have different living organisms on there. And whenever a meteorite hit, have you ever seen in the news where they run to the site and they show it on the news? No, you might
Well,
get
yeah.
a glimpse
Yeah.
of it falling through the sky, but at the time of it being why it's radioactive and stuff like that, they don't
Mm-hmm.
show you the site where everybody's running to that site. You might see on movies, or they might even show you after the fact, thousands or hundreds of years later. But really, are they showing this? Because do you
Mm.
know meteorites just hit Texas not too long ago, and it caused a
Mhm.
fire as if like it was in California. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So they didn't put that on the news, though. They didn't put it on the news and show what happened after they went to the area to retrieve it or whatever. You see what I'm saying? They don't show that kind of stuff. And then if you go into history, you'll learn that how long meteorites and asteroids been hitting all over China, all over Russia and stuff for years, years and years.
Mm.
And this is how they advance their technology as well. But like I said, this
Mm.
is stuff
Yeah.
that's factual. So I
Mm.
don't just give uh my thoughts or nothing like that. Like I really go and study. So therefore
Mhm.
when I do conversate about real things, I try to give the best answer, and then I wish that people would just go and look for
Mm.
themselves. That way they don't have to feel like somebody trying to push their thought or their way of thinking on
Mm.
them. I want to be fair.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's good to do your research as well. And
Hmm.
yeah, look, like I said, if I see one, I'll be like very happy. I'll be like, yeah, they finally exist because I'm a very visual person,
Okay.
and
Now let me ask you
I'd
this.
have to, yeah, go.
So if an alien was to step into your face today, right? But it came in the
Hmm.
form of a human, would you still denote that it's an alien just because it looked human and you did not know?
I wouldn't even know. That is interesting. You point that out. Well, I was referencing what they call the greys, is what I was talking about, those ones.
But see, that's
But
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
mm,
Because they want you to think of this. Because if you learn about, okay, if you learn about Jericho, right? that's in the Bible. It would tell you that they had very large stature people that had UFO laser guns. And
Mm.
Joshua and them said that they were so tall they looked like grasshoppers in the sight of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So just think, even if you are 6 feet tall and you look down at a grasshopper, do you know how tall you look to that grasshopper?
No, it looks like a giant.
Do you see what I'm saying? How tall do you think you look to an ant?
Pretty tall.
You know, so if Joshua, they're human, but just think, even Adam and Eve was over 15. Some you learn it go back to like 30 feet, even to some was like saying 100 feet tall. So
Mm.
even they was in great stature. So at the end of
Mm.
the day, what is? You see what I'm saying? Like if you got a G gene in you, you got to understand there's parents
Mm.
that have children that's so taller than them right now. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So
Mm.
that lets you know that at some point things were happening and taking place.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, let's bring the next guest on. All right, hello.
Hey,
How are you?
what's up? I'm good, man.
Yeah,
Did
what's your opinion today about aliens? Have you encountered
haven't
any extraterrestrial life?
um hello. I I don't have an opinion about
Mm-hmm.
aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're already here. They exist.
Mm-hmm.
They visited people,
Mm-hmm.
and most of them aren't very nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people go around talking about, oh, they're here to help us with our evolution and stop us from nuclear war and all this other stuff like that. It's bullocks.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. Interesting.
They're
Yeah.
actually ultra terrestrials, not
Mm-hmm.
extraterrestrials. Ultra. Just like your previous guest, you know, giants and all
Mm-hmm.
that. There's all different forms and kinds, and they're not the existence of them is not as you would think that they are. Always, they come in all different
Mm.
shapes and forms and sizes, and some of them exist in forms that are not what we would consider to be physical. And they can
Yeah.
translate in and out of our existence physically by a process that's very similar to, if not exactly like Fourier transforms, which can take physical signals and transfer them into information and then back again, so that when they become
Mm.
information, it seems non-material to us.
Mm.
This accounts for all the
Yeah.
phenomena of them bleeping in and out of existence, having insane amounts of speed, communication telepathically and whatnot. Quantum entanglement gives us a few cute clues about that.
Well, there's been fighter pilots who have encountered UFOs, but they just can't keep up with it, and they've reported these
Yeah,
things just take off so quick. You
I've
know.
got video. I've got there's a whole
Mm.
section of my life on one of my YouTube channels where I have video of UFOs. Then I
Mm-hmm.
have an encounter where black helicopters are following me for hours. This is all on YouTube, and you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then also a bus that I'm on gets intercepted by something where the doors are flapping open and closed while the bus is still driving. The driver's not stopping. The lights on the bus are flashing on and off, and the driver is in a trance just driving this bus like nothing's going on, while the
Mm-hmm.
doors are opening and closing and the lights are flashing on and off. Yep, all on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. So it's not like,
Wow.
but who's looking at it, right? No, nobody wants to
Mm.
look at it. It's just like a joke to everybody.
Well,
Um,
the government seems to deny it for some reason. They say, "Oh no, they don't exist."
well, that's because it
Maybe
would
they don't want you
disrupt
to
all
know
of
the
the
truth.
religions. It would disrupt all the religions in the world. Like this band, I Am Abomination sings, God. They say,
Mm,
God dies when the churches rise. He was born when the ancient astronauts arrive. The heavens
mhm.
exist and our maker is there. Death is not the way to visit. Technology is our only prayer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Well, in my
interesting.
opinion, they
What about
exist. People, yeah.
yeah? You've heard of those men in black showing up to people's doors randomly? I've heard a
My
lot of
sister,
that.
20 years Navy veteran, they visited her in her home, somehow got into her house and stood at the foot of her bed staring at her. And she was
Jesus
frightened and
Christ.
couldn't move. And then, yeah, 20-year Navy veteran, she was in her bed, frozen with fear, couldn't move. The very next day, when she was leaving her naval base, she saw one of the
Mm.
men sitting at a bus stop watching her drive away.
And did this look like a normal human being or something weird and different?
Well, I don't know because I wasn't there. I just know the story that she told me in confidence. She doesn't tell a whole bunch of people about it. But
Mm,
she's not averse to me telling people about it because she knows about the various experiences that I've had on my own and that
mhm,
her, my older brother Richard, and me have had all together in our home in New York, which we thought were aliens. Or, I mean, we thought were demons or like dwarves or elves and stuff like that, and all the weird shit we used to see happening at our house.
mm.
Um,
No,
there's been lots of very,
look, I,
yeah.
I don't have an explanation for that, but if you've seen that and what you've described to me, man, that's scary.
It is scary. They also visited me the same day that my wife was killed in New York. The first
Mm,
encounter I had with them was when I was a child. I ran away from school because I thought my dad was going to kill my mom, so I thought I'd run home and protect her. And on the way, I got intercepted by a woman with blonde hair and a green alien that was later described as a reptilian who shot her in the chest with a laser gun and put a hole in her chest and killed her in front of me, but not before she could telepathically communicate the word Andromeda with me, which at the time I thought was her name. I never heard that word before. But it was only until like 30 years later or so when I started looking up alien shit because all kind of weird stuff was happening that I heard about some war between these Lyrans and reptilians, which looked like her, blonde and white and green-eyed and blonde and all that, and the reptilians, which well looked like reptiles, like Merman from freaking He-Man cartoons. The next encounter was with something that I learned were called the ancients or insectoids, and then the third encounter was with two gray aliens, those typical ones that we see all the time depicted in movies with the big heads and the black beady eyes. And then when the day my
mm,
wife was killed and I had a stroke at the time she died, I was in the typical scenario on some kind of like gurney or hospital bed laboratory apparatus, but this time there were seven of them surrounding me, and they were taller than the shorter ones that I had seen before that. Besides of all the other
mm,
wacky stuff that's happened in my life, that people won't believe. They'll just say I'm a pathological liar, or I'm crazy, or I'm stupid, or I don't understand what's going on. So, you know,
mm,
you
mm,
can't talk about these things
mm,
except for on Wisdom and other conspiracy theory channels where people are prone to this kind of stuff, right? So,
mhm,
let
mhm,
it be what it is. It's just going to be a story. It's just going to be a tale, but it doesn't
mm,
matter
mm, mm.
because
Yeah.
all this dichotomy, that's what they want to do is make us believe that we're crazy and that none of this is happening and that there's only us on this planet, even though you have the Sheldrake equation that shows that there's so many stars in the Milky Way galaxy alone, and of those there are going to be planets, and of those there are going to be planets in the habitable zone, and of those there are going to be planets in the habitable zone that will be able to develop life, and of those there's going to be those that develop intelligent life, and of those there are going to be a percentage that develops life to communicate, and then space travel, and so on. And so there's got to be some out there, but
Mm,
and even that number gives us
mm.
millions
Yeah,
of
well,
billions of habitable planets.
astronauts have seen a lot of things in space that they don't talk about as well. Landing on the moon, they apparently were led by UFOs, but NASA always keep a lot of things secret. Uh, Interesting.
Well, yeah, supposedly they keep a lot of things secret. I happen to to be on speaking terms with at least 2 NASA scientists, one who works on the Mars Science Laboratory, and one
Mm-hmm.
who's here on Wisdom. His name is Christopher
Mm-hmm.
Birkenbein.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one, I met her at University of Miami, and I've
Mm-hmm.
been in touch with her over these years. But they won't talk about that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's they're science
No.
communicators and scientists and engineers, and maybe they don't know about it.
Mm.
You know,
Well,
not
Steve
everybody's
Hawking
flying
was
around in outer
all.
space.
Well, Steve Hawking for years was saying all the conspiracy theories about how the Big Bang happened and the universe happened.
Well,
And
they're really dumb about that because there was nothing big about it and there was no bang. So
mm,
that's a stupid description of it. It's an expansion and from a
mm,
singularity where all the forces that we know of are decoupled. By the way, they're running around looking for a gravity, and yet still
mhm,
we have gravitational forces that pull us towards the massive bodies. And then
mhm,
there's something that they're talking about, dark energy or dark matter, that's causing the expansion of the universe. That's gravity, folks. Gravity, just
mm,
like electricity and magnetism, has 2 poles. You have a gravity well that pulls you in and a gravity hill that pushes you away. And speaking of being
mhm,
pushed away, I have 10 seconds and I'm going to be pushed away myself. So thank you for
mhm.
letting me speak to you, Mr. Stephen.
You too.
Have a good day.
Thanks for coming on.
Be well.
You too. Bye. All right. I'll just bring the next guest on. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So as you're saying about Jericho and a giant, I mean, you've heard of the story about Goliath,
Oh
David and
yeah.
Goliath in the Bible. You know, people said to David that he was never going to take down Goliath, and then bang, he hits him in the eyes, and Goliath falls down. So Goliath was
Uh-huh.
a giant.
Yep. So,
It's quite
like I
interesting.
said, it's just what one person is willing to take in, you know.
Mm,
You could be telling people the truth in so many ways about a lot of stuff. And you know what? It's that mindset.
mm, exactly. You know, it's always good to research as much as you can,
That's right.
but you know,
I just think everyone
got to
should
come
be
up with
fair to
your own opinion.
themselves.
Mm,
And I
exactly.
think people should be fair to themselves. And actually, if you hear something that you might not feel is truth or whatever, before debunking it, just because you haven't
Mm,
heard of it or you don't believe it or you never seen it, I think people should really, that's when really people should do a research just to see
mm,
what they can find for themselves. Because you don't, like I said, people like the guy, he was so on it because people don't even understand. There's a lot of angels
mm,
that you,
mhm,
what they show us that are angels. If you was to see
mm,
them, you would not believe these what they are calling to be angels. Um,
mm,
that's just like, how do you think they come up with a gargoyle or with these certain different spirits and stuff look like? At some point, these things truly had to have been seen, whether people want to believe it or not. You see what I'm saying?
mm,
So,
yeah. Well, I spoke to the previous guest about, the men in black who just randomly show up to people's doors and to scare them. Now that's been going
mhm.
on, and it's a weird phenomenon, and I don't know.
hmm
I just don't have
and you
the
know
answers
what's
to that.
funny about it?
Hmm.
Sometimes it's weird because people might not understand it, but sometimes if people have learned about the book of Job or whatever, and they learn really what is to teach you about it, people will come under attack through their health,
Mm,
through certain ways as well, just to be tested in their faith and what they believe because
mm,
it's what you can't see. This is
mm,
why it's important to understand that story because the Lord gave us free will. We have free will. Whether people listen, I'm not part of religion, so just because I speak about the Lord and stuff did not make me part of religion. Okay, so
Mhm.
um, when it comes to understanding, you have free will. So that means you have the right choice to your own choice to go this way or that way. Now, if you're choosing to go the good way, it is still a sense that something can come up against you just because you're being tested. You see?
Mm.
And this is what people don't understand. So, even when we are fighting viruses, do you not know a virus as simple as the flu is a spiritual thing? It's a pesticide. It's a living organism that entered your body, and your body is actually trying to fight it off. It's not necessarily meaning that it's like, oh, it's the flu, but this is what they're calling it. But it actually is
Mhm.
a virus, a live thing that has entered your body that's foreign to the body. And so your body
Mm.
make up its own antibodies that go on the attack. So it allows your body to go through like this illness to push these foreign things out your body that ain't supposed to be in here. So just
Mhm.
think, like I said, even when you talking about aliens, them are aliens as well. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? When it's something foreign to the body, when there's something foreign to the way of how things are supposed to be. You know, if it's something that's not normal to you, if you are acting different to someone else, they might be like, you must be like an alien today because you're being different. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, this is why we keep having to update our own intellect, our own technology, which is in our brain. You see what I'm saying? We are actually a living source signal as well. Have you ever heard people beam me up, Scotty, or something like that? Because you are like a
Similar to
walking
that, yes.
antenna yourself. You know, you
Mm.
you have signals and things that can be beamed, triggered as well, not only by people here on this earth, by things also out of the universe. You wouldn't even imagine that, right? But it's so. Why you think they talk about people who have outer body experience? You see what I mean?
I've actually
But
heard. I've actually heard of that, and yes, that is real to have an out of body
mhm,
experience.
mhm.
Now,
And
uh,
I experienced
if
a
you
lot of it.
went,
You know, I have.
mm, if you
Mhm.
went to your a psychologist or your doctor and you told him that, and this has happened, people you've been abducted by aliens, or they'd look at you like you're crazy, and this has happened, and
Well,
they'd
you
say, "Oh,
know,
we'll take
you'll be
them to
surprised they
antidepressants."
won't because there's actually
Mm.
things that they know is real and they know it's hard for
Mm.
people to deal with it because see, I've been diagnosed with a mental illness, what they call an emotional dysregulatory disorder. Let me tell you,
Mm.
caring for people, feeling like you can help somebody. If somebody come and ask you for $20 and you feel you got it, if you feel you can help
Mm.
somebody with groceries or fix their house, or if you feel you can help someone see hope in something, they consider
Mm.
that a disorder. That's a
Mm.
disorder.
Mm.
So you tell me, caring for somebody, they the world consider that a mental illness because they really want to teach us that we should not care for one another. That is not right. This is why we were told to love thy neighbor, because the
Mm.
Lord already knew this what people was going to be teaching. Do you know there's
Mm.
a YouTube screenshot they got where the one lady was telling that they actually is going to get to a point where people do not use their fundamental rights.
No, I did not know that.
So at some point, they're not going to want us human beings to think
Mm.
for themselves. This is why they come up with all this different technology because it interferes with your connections in your brain, how your brain is wired. It actually messes with you. When you learn that putting earbuds in your ear actually can give you cancer through the brain, through your ear. You know what I'm saying? When you learn that watching too much TV and all this LED light stuff that they got going on now actually fry your brain. It causes brain cancer. You know what I'm saying? But look, they done made these devices so hard to put down to where you can be having your phone in your pocket and because of a certain signal can cause it to blow up in your pocket. It has happened. There was a little kid who was listening to their phone through their iPod and was charging it, and it fried them. It killed them. So this should let you know that these wavelengths and things are really made to attack the human body. And when you get to learning about what's hue and who considered to have hue and who don't, you will see it's so deep. You know what I mean? But hey, who am I?
Exactly. Great to have you on the show, by the way.
It's definitely been
And
great.
it was
And I definitely
nice to meet
appreciate
you.
these kind of conversations. Nice to meet you. I start following because that's a good conversation because, see, I do love Wonder Woman and stuff like that. When I learned about those different because they were actually a group of women called the Amazons. So, I mean, it's
Yes,
so real.
exactly. All right. Thank you.
Peace out.
All right. Let's bring the next guest on. Hello. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
All right, you're there.
Yeah.
So, what's brought you on for today's show?
Oh yeah. So do aliens exist? So I mean, is that still the topic?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Because I've held a talk yesterday where I started off with the automatic like cruise control like changing, right? Like to like these new cars, and I was like, wow. I hope someone doesn't get used to that and then drive an older car and then get in a crash because they're used to it. And then we talked about flying cars because it's like new technology, right? And it ended up in all these weird places. We went to like femininity, birth control, like alcohol recovery. Like it was just wild. So that's why I wanted to ask. But do aliens exist? So I watched. Did you watch the Netflix documentary series about like aliens unclassified or whatever, or declassified?
I think so. I watched a Bob Lazar documentary. I watched Bob Lazar's on the Joe Rogan Experience about it. Look, I admit I've never seen any. I'm talking about the greys that you hear about abducting people. Look, if I saw it, I'd be very happy if I saw it. I know that the Men in Black do exist, and they randomly show up to your door to put fear in you. What's been your experience?
So my experience, I guess I don't know if it was an alien or if it was just a meteor in the sky. But I remember, so I'm a Marine. I think we've talked, and or if you heard me, I'm a Marine. I was in comm school, and we were doing our last like final like field op thing, and it was like 3 days, and we were out there, and it was at night. I just went over this like little hill to go take a pee. And as I look up into the sky to my left, and it's out in the desert of 29 palms, like there's nothing there, right? There was this big orange like ball thing, and it looked like it was on fire, right? And it fucking like it went across the entire sky very slowly, but it went across the sky, and I was like, is this just like a really cool meteor, or is this a satellite falling from space? I don't know.
Mhm.
And I think someone had said that they found, I guess there was a satellite that fell out of the sky, or maybe that's what the government wanted to tell us. But I don't know what it is. I guess that's my only like UFO or possible UFO sighting. But when I watched the documentary on Netflix, it was really good. Like the Aliens Unclassified. Look it up. It's so cool because it talks about like the history of like the government like looking into aliens. It talks about like the cover-ups and why they covered it up, and the technology that that they've studied from the found aliens ships and things, and it's like they use all over the world. And one of the reasons why the government for the longest time like didn't want us to know about aliens was because of the technology. They're like, whatever country finds a really super advanced technology will have an edge in warfare or in economics. So it really came down to national security and money at the end of the day. And another reason why they wanted to keep it under wraps is because if they stole a lot of the like different companies or the government stole this like technology from these aliens and said so and so invented it when they kind of didn't, then it would discredit a lot of people and they would lose, money possibly. So it was just a really good documentary. So I do think they exist from that documentary. And there was a lot of like proof and evidence, like you said, the Men in Black. There was a story about the school children who were out on the playground, and there was like a triangle like ship or something that came, and then it like buzzed away, and the teacher took some photos, and and then like of course news people came and whatnot, but 20 minutes later, the Men in Black confiscated all of the cameras and like told them not to talk about it and shut down any news reporting or anything like that. So yeah, it convinced me. One like series just like convinced me. It's like, okay, they're real. But I really would like to know, like he's like, yeah, and I've heard other things like, yeah, there's all a bunch of different types of aliens, and like this like X-Files shit is real. And I just was like, that's crazy. So that's just my point of view and what I think. So, and also what everyone says, the galaxy and the universe is so big. How arrogant are we to think that we're the only ones? So it helps.
Well, where do these Men in Black just show up randomly, like following people?
That's a good question.
If you were to call the police or the Men in Black, the police aren't going to do anything because they think you're a nutcase.
Yeah. It's like the Men in Black obviously would work for the federal government and some sort of ABC letter agency type of thing, like the CIA, the DEA, the freaking FBI. I'm just calling out different agencies. There's a bunch of other agencies that exist that I know that we really don't know much about. Not because they're trying to keep it under wraps, but it's like they just, it just isn't really, we don't know, right? They just don't advertise themselves, or like the FBI. Everyone knows about the FBI. Like, you know about the FBI. And where are you from? Like, where you live?
Oh, Sydney, Australia.
Yes. So you've obviously heard about like the FBI, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But it's in American culture, and if you watch any type of like American movie where the FBI is there, like, and the FBI is overhyped, but that's a whole other rant. But
there was a thing in Colorado where all this cattle just got slaughtered, and I think it was a chupacabra. And it left no evidence behind. It was in the New York Post.
oh wow.
This chupacabra is a weird animal. I don't know if it's an animal or something, but it just leaves nothing behind, and they can't explain why. I mean, that's real.
I love this topic. I love like spooky, weird type of stuff. And if you watch on Netflix, I watched the Netflix series on the Unexplained with William Shatner. Oh my God, so good, because they go about a whole bunch of these like weird phenomenons about like this lady who, I can't remember what happened to her. She had some sort of cancer, or something happened to her medically, right? She recovered, but then she was able to, when she went to somebody, like around somebody, she could detect cancer And so she would tell people like, hey, I think there's something going on in your stomach, or like, I think you have some sort of cancer. Not like saying stage 4 cancer, stage 3 or whatever. But she was like, hey, I would get something, like, you need to go to your doctor. And she's helped a lot of people. Like, that's what she does now. It's unexplained. Like, how does she do that? We don't know.
Exactly.
And so like, is it, or like people who've had like out of body experience, like near death experiences. That's really interesting. So, I mean, that's all like a bunch of bunny trails, but like, it was really, really good. I don't know if the Unexplained, if they talked about aliens, but they talked about like lost civilizations. What else did they talk about? They talked about a bunch of like, just like a 1 in a million chance that some like people survive. Did you hear about like this guy on the Titanic who survived the Titanic, which is a crazy story? He did like 3 other ships that were like big like ship sinkings in his career, and he kept going on boats. Like,
oh my God!
I just think that stuff is so cool. But aliens. So, do you think aliens exist?
Well, I'm like Joseph in the Bible, where he had to physically touch Jesus. So if I was to physically touch it, I'd be like, yep, or pick up a UFO part. But I am open to people's experiences too. It's been amazing what I've listened to today. That's just who I am.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. Like, if I see and physically touch like an alien, right? You know it exists, but like, I just keep my mind open, and I'm still like, if someone, there was just so much evidence that I've seen that they do exist that I'm like, why not, right? And also, like, in the galaxy, we're the only place that has like sustainable life of different life forms. So it would make, and they talk about that in the unclassified or declassified documentary series about like, this is like a hub of what do you call it again? Hub of life. And so a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting what my guests have said today, and it's very always welcome to share any of your experiences too, and it's always welcome to know what's happening. Is your name Jillian, by the way?
I'm up in the airport, so I was just checking the what do you call it again? The GPS. So
yeah.
But I just think, again, there's just so much life here, and it would make sense why aliens would want to come and study us. I love Third Rock from the Sun. Have you? It's kind of like a '90s niche TV show. Have you seen it?
Not yet.
Oh no, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. You have to check it out. It is a scream. John Lithgow is in it, with a bunch of other like Gordon something Levitt, the guy he was in it. French Stewart's in it. But basically, what it is this supposedly this aliens who come in human form, and all they do is they observe, they observe Earth. That's all they do is they observe. And what he's the main John Lithgow, that Dick, that's his name in the show. He's a physics professor, and then you have Sally, who is she goes between jobs, so she's like drop dead gorgeous. Then you have their son, which is Tommy, which is what's his face, and then you have Harry, which is just like the kind of weird brother, and it's so funny. But they talk about a lot of things about like society and things that they learn and whatnot. So, but that's my question: is like, if they exist, maybe they're like that in that sense. Maybe they're amongst us. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows exactly? I mean, yeah, you've heard of, like I said, I talked about the chupacabra. There's the Yeti that's going around. That's been sighted. There's the Black Panther in Australia.
What's that?
Yeah.
Now,
Phenomenon. I think it's just like a panther. It's a nice big black panther, like an animal or something. Very rare.
I didn't know they were rare in Australia, but and everything's trying to kill you out there.
Well, what about people have talked about the paranormal in seeing ghost sightings. Do you believe in ghosts?
I definitely believe in demonic spirits, and like spirits are or you could say ghosts, same. I think that they are definitely very real, and seeing different blurred pictures, or I haven't really experienced ghosts myself, but I know I have this feeling, and a lot of people who are sensitive to energy around them. I'm not trying to get too weird here, but I have felt a presence, it's something off. I remember when I went to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and they had one of the train cars, and so you could walk through the train car and stand in it and look around and stuff. But I remember when I stood inside of the train car, it made me feel and I've explained this feeling before, and other people have felt it as well. You feel sick to your stomach, kind of nauseous, and you're just grossed out in a way. You're just this is uncomfortable. And I took a picture inside, and I don't know if we were supposed to or not, but I took a picture, and when I went to look at the picture later down the line from all the pictures I took at the museum, unfortunately, I changed my phone, and all those pictures are gone. But it was white. The picture was white. Like white. So I didn't know if there was something that blocked taking that picture. Was that a spirit? I'm just kidding. I'm just kind of feeling kind of that same feeling now, just remembering it. And I would touch certain things in the or be around certain things in the what do you call it again, in the museum, the bunks, right? That people slept on or tried to sleep on, whatever, that laid on, and same feeling, same. So just the whole museum kind of but those were the most intense experiences that I felt. But so that's just my experience, that I guess with feelings or paranormal spirits, I guess you could say. I guess actually I have one actually experience. I was out in the middle of nowhere. A Humvee had broke down, and we had to go tow it with this big, a really big vehicle. It's like a tow truck on steroids for Humvees, and which is just like a really crappy Jeep. And we were out putting the chains. You cross the chains or whatever, and no one was in the vehicle. There was no way, no one was touching it. It was probably 9-10 o'clock at night. We're hooking up the chains to tow it, and it randomly, the honks randomly out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. I'm
shit.
Yeah.
And
what the hell? There was nothing in there.
And you couldn't explain why that happened.
No. And it's not like you have keys for it. It's not like you bump the unlock it or something. There's no keys. You just open the door, right? Someone would have had to sit in there and push their hand on the horn. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
what's going on with that? But those are, I guess, my experiences with the paranormal and how I feel, I guess, when I have been around dark places. Do you have that feeling? Have you ever felt that kind of feeling where there's something really, a dark spirit or something is here? Something's not right.
Yeah, quite a few times when I was a kid. I think one old house we had, I was walking in the garage. I don't know, I just saw this white mist one night. It was a clear night, just walk through, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And then it just disappeared. Never talked about it. I'm like, that's odd, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But Julian, it's like with the paranormal world is something that you should never ever mess with it, because
definitely not.
it's stuff that you get young people on YouTube playing with Ouija boards, but it does more harm than good. I stay away from that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And never piss off the paranormal world as well. And it's important to look after yourself spiritually and have a strong mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember I was in comm school, and they had a Ouija board sitting like in our kind of like lounge. You play cards or pool or whatever, and there was a Ouija board, and I was like, just sitting there. I'm like, that's fine, right? But some guys were like, hey, let's play with the Ouija board. I heard, someone died in here or something, and I was just like, I gotta leave. Bye. And my mom always said that. She's like, if anybody whips out a Ouija board, get out of that room, leave. And I followed that, and I will never mess with a Ouija board, ever. I won't wear any t-shirts. I won't wear any of the pendant or get a tattoo. I do not mess with that.
Exactly. Especially with we spoke about mental health before, people with depression. I mean, yeah, it's best to stay away from that stuff. If you have like myself, anxiety and depression,
yeah,
it's just
and because
important
you're at a more vulnerable state.
But it's interesting when you hear about fighter pilots just seeing a UFO and chasing it, and then it jams up all their comm signals or all their radio, and they're like, "What the hell is this going on?"
Yeah, I saw that video in the D class. Yeah, it was like there were Tic Tacs in the sky, like floating Tic Tacs.
Yeah,
they look like propane tanks, but without the lid on top, just floating in the sky.
I know. The Navy has seen them as well. The U.S. Navy. Yeah, but the astronauts see them all the time. They led them to the moon. It's only recently that Apollo 11 have come out and said, yeah, I saw them. But for years it was always covered up, But it's amazing what people have shared with me today as well on the Stephen Shields radio show. It's always great to have people here sharing their experiences on the universe and the galaxy far, far away. You ever watch Star Wars?
Yes, I love Star Wars. I mean, I'm not a huge nerd about it, but I mean and if you are, that's great. But no, yeah, it makes you think all those different life forms, like the cantina, bar. You see all those. Also, Star Trek. My mom and dad were really big Star Trek fans. Well, I remember watching Star Trek Next Generation, and you just see all these different worlds and life, and it makes you think maybe they're not contacting us, making the press known because we're not ready for it, because that's one of their big rules or whatever.
Yeah, Star Wars is interesting. I watched the Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. That was really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I'm thinking to myself, Jillian, is Darth Vader can do all those so-called really awesome moves. How cool would that be to do that in real life?
Oh my God, yes. But be able to move stuff like telekinesis with your mind. Maybe not strangle people, right? I mean, if someone's trying to hurt you, you can strangle them, I guess. But if you could your phone's across the room, or your charger, or your phone, or whatever it is, and then you just pick it up and it just comes across the room. And you're like, okay, great. I can now now I can drink my water or whatever. Just use it to be lazy. Or, I don't know.
Exactly.
Or if something's really, really heavy, just pick it up. You're like, oh, just pick up that rock. Okay, cool. Let's move it over here. That'd be so nice. And my line of work to be able to pick up really heavy things, just super easily, just boop, boop,
It's like Master Yoda as well.
Yeah.
Use the Force. But no, I reference Star Wars quite a fair bit because you got Darth Vader, who's like really, really strong, and he's one of my
Yeah.
favorite characters. And he like can literally. There was a scene in Obi-Wan. He's literally pulling down a spaceship just using one arm, using the Force. That's like crazy stuff. And there's a scene where when he's in a duel, he's not even using his lightsaber. You should check it out. I'm like, holy shit, that is wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, and I love that it what do you call it again? That's there. It's a thought, and who knows? Maybe at one point, in the future, we'll be able to use that. I know you can use what do you call it again? Like magnets, like the magnetism for like levitation, like the opposite poles. And I'm surprised that we haven't figured out more technology. I mean, I know a lot of things have it most likely. I'm not big into technology. We would need Hakeem to come on here and maybe talk about polarization of magnets. But you, because on the what do you call it again? On the unexplained, they talked about this like the lost like worlds or whatever, like civilizations that just poof, like just got like Roanoke or whatever. There was like this. Who were they? There was like this like civilization down, I think, in the like rainforest area or whatever down in South America, and they found these big heads, like 10-foot tall like heads that were round, and it looked like they had a lot of magnetization, like pores or whatever, like your compass would just go crazy next to it. And they're like, where is it used as healing power? But they were talking about when it comes to using magnets for healing, depending on the exposure and how much there is, it could also be quite dangerous as well. So maybe that's why society hasn't used magnets for more technology than we have already, because of the possible dangers in it, like health risks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was problems with the 5G network where people were complaining about 5G that was going to do, I don't know, damage to the brain or something. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
Oh yeah.
A lot of hoaxes too. I mean, these days with Photoshop, you could just do anything with Photoshop now, and you could say, "Oh, I saw an alien in an old 1942 photo," and that's been going on, and people do believe that, sadly.
Yeah, I always fact check everything. Like if it's if it's too good to be true, like with pictures, sometimes it is. But if it's just like something you're like, oh okay, that tracks, and there's like multiple other sides, and then if you find if I just find one, hey, it's a hoax, and it's like a credible source, then I was like, oh okay, cool. Like I'm not gonna drink the Kool-Aid. I was thinking about something. I lost it. But I think technology is just it's a gift and a curse. I did see on Facebook that's about the first car that can turn into a plane. I saw it flying like in the video, and I was like, wow. That's why I started my talk. Yeah, I started my talk yesterday with flying cars or like auto cruise control, like adjustment, right, for new cars. And I was just talking about with I think Kate Oliver on here. She's really awesome, and about it. What would it do to like change society? As like, how would it change the impact of our society if we can drive and fly for like modern families, so we don't have to basically rely on public transportation like planes or or buses. I think it would change everything.
No, it's like Elon Musk with transportations trying to get astronauts to Mars one day. That would be amazing.
I had heard that somebody was already on their way over there, but I don't know if that's true. That'd be a long trip. I think they said it was going to be like 12 years or something to get there.
Yeah, it could be, but You look back to Werner von Braun. I mean, before I was born, he was writing science fiction books about traveling to Mars. So I think clearly there was a vision in NASA for years and years to travel to Mars. And I think it'd be great. I support it.
Yeah, I support it too.
You know, but yeah, like I said, it's always great to hear people's interpretations and what they've seen. But what strikes me the most is, you know, Men in Black. These just two Men in Black showing up to people's doors all of a sudden and following them. That's
Like, hey,
weird.
we're going to need to confiscate your camera, your phone, or your laptop, and, you know, take that, and, you know, you can't have any, you know, copies or, you know, whatever it is. And it's like, But, I mean, if you think about it the way that I explained it, right, that if it's to help national security and keep corporations in business, then that makes sense. Why they would keep that. But and then I'd heard, I think it was in 2020, I think the government had said like, yeah, aliens exist. Okay, next. I'm just like, what? There was actually in the declassified thing, there was this guy who was really good about like breaking in, like he had really good cybersecurity like skills, like he could use code to like hack into different places, and he hacked into. He was a British guy, and he hacked into the Pentagon. And, you know, the Pentagon is like all the bigwigs are there, like all these things. And the only thing he was looking for was evidence of UFOs. And let's just say they found out pretty quickly that he had broken into the server or whatever it was. And he was like, I didn't really find any UFO stuff. I just found a bunch of other things. And they were trying to get him and prosecute him in the U.S., but since he was in England, the English government was like, nah, you're not taking him, he's ours. Like, don't worry about it. Like, so I thought that was kind of funny, how he was just like, yeah, I'm just looking for UFOs and, you know, whatever. But you said it was actually quite easy to get into the Pentagon's, like, servers and, like, network and whatnot. I think that's kind of funny, but also kind of like scary that like working in communications, that like our network for the Marine Corps is very, they have a lot of like little rules that you can and can't do on a government computer. You know, you have to log in.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, I've definitely learnt a lot in today's episode of the Stephen Shields radio show. It's always, inspiring to listen, you know. Well, we've got 10 minutes left, Julian, and then we'll wrap it up after you as well.
Okay, great.
But you're exactly right about what the government is. I mean, the issue with Julian Assange, you've heard of Julian Assange, have you?
No, I have not.
I ended up hacking into the government computers and leaking government documents, and this has just been political football for, oh God, I don't know when this started. And he felt people needed to know the truth about what, you know, US, I think government, Australian government was all up to behind the back, but then they're trying to prosecute him for espionage or something. But yet this has been going on for years. It's just been political football. But I don't understand how someone can hack into the Pentagon if they've got all this cyber security and someone can just do that. I really don't understand that at all.
I don't understand it either. No, like, trust me, like, the Pentagon of all places, I would think would have, like, the highest, what do you call it again? Highest cybersecurity on secret or top secret networks, right? Because each network is different. Like, they have different, like, things or whatever, and different people who only are supposed to be on that network and, you know, go on that network. And he just was like, yeah, I came in through a back door or something. And I was just like, what? Like, wild. And that's why cybersecurity is so important, because it really is You know, that's where all the information is online or on a computer on these like digital sources. It'd be like breaking into a bank like back in the day, or like a filing cabinet, right? It's same. And another reason why, I mean, it would make sense that like why paper is so important. I'm assuming this. I don't know. I would assume that like super secret stuff like aliens or something or whatever. I don't know. It would probably be on paper because you can't hack into paper. You know, like you can't like unless you physically go there and take it. So that's just an assumption. I really don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like the FBI raiding Donald Trump's house to put scare tactics into Donald Trump over government documents. I've spoken about the FBI a bit on my show, and I just think that whenever they want to get involved in politics, they play the soap opera and use scare tactics. Now, he admitted he was going to give those documents back, and yet what do? They go and raid his house. I don't know. The FBI, when they get involved in the El Chapo, trying to hunt down someone, they want to be the hero, the DEA and all that. Now we need them, but I don't understand why they want to get all political.
Yeah, but you know, everything's politics and bureaucracy. I mean, I work for the government. I'm not going to say if I like it or not like it. Like, I'm not going to say anything about it. But I'm just pointing out the obvious. There's a lot of politics in the military, in the Senate, like everywhere you go, even in a what do you call it again? You just in an office workspace, like at Walmart or something. There's politics everywhere. You can't you can't get away from it. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, me either. It's been a crazy year, 2022. But I always look for the future for 2023. I'm always planning for the future. But yeah, when you hear about all this stuff in the media, and like, yeah, the media doesn't cover everything. They only give half the truth. Princess Diana's death, they still can't get to the bottom of what happened, and this was in the 90s this happened, and sooner or later I don't know.
Somebody's going to come forward, and I think there's a lot of secrecy about it. I think possibly because a lot of people, there's a conspiracy that she was bumped off. Like there's a lot of things that she was killed because she knew too much about one of the royals' cheating, like, you know, mistress relationships or something, and they had her killed. She was making too much waves. You know, like I haven't really done research. I love true crime, but I haven't really truly done a deep dive into Princess Diana's death. And you know, you're going to hear 1,000 different people say 1,000 different things. So yeah.
Yeah. It's you know, it's a crazy world out there. I don't know.
It really is.
Ever since
it is.
Ever since the coronavirus came around in 2020, things just, I don't know, are weird.
Yeah, 100%. Everything's kind of weird. Everything's like the world changed through the pandemic, and if you don't want to believe that was the goal or not, it did. You know, if you want to believe it, I mean, I think there was a purpose behind it, but you know, there's no evidence to that. You know, but I mean, this big significant impact that it did have. How naive are we going to think that there wasn't a purpose behind it? If that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm very passionate about spirituality, and I thought I'd talk about alien this topic. I'll probably do a part 2 series of this, actually.
Well, that'd be fun. Yeah.
It's quite interesting to get people's different perspectives. You know, Men in Black showing up to the front door all of a sudden, or people, you know, being abducted, but they don't want to share about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I definitely, and that's okay too. I mean, on Wisdom, you can be anonymous on Wisdom, but like, if someone wanted to come on, they could maybe make a burner account or something, and like, this is my this is what happened to me, cover their mouth like I did or something, or get a voice changer, whatever. If they wanted to stay anonymous, so the Men in Black don't knock on their door,
Exactly. But look up Julian Assange if you can. And it's quite interesting about how it's all political football still going on to this
Yeah,
day.
I'll definitely look it up. Yeah.
Is the founder of WikiLeaks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm like, that sounds like WikiLeaks. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some interesting articles you'll read on WikiLeaks. But,
yeah, we've talked about that when it comes to operational security. Like, what do you do if like a document gets leaked or something like that? And it's really, I mean, there's a lot of different protocols that we have to keep our, keep things that should be secret, and let things that can be let out. Whatever those documents are, there's a lot of protocols. And obviously, if I told everybody, then that would be, showing vulnerabilities. So you know what I'm saying. There's in any organization, probably so in Australia, there's probably your government has protocols to keep stuff secret too. Like, it's everywhere you go.
Exactly. There is a lot of protocols involved as well. A lot of protocols in Australia.
Oh, I bet.
That have to be followed too. But it's I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the world's going to be like.
In 10, 15, 20 years. Yeah, it's rapidly changing. It always is, but like since we really hit like 1900, it's so funny. One of the guys that worked at the patent office, he said everything that has been invented, everything that could be invented has been invented, and he said that in 1900, which is really funny, because obviously look at where we've come. But thank you so much for having me on, and this has been fun.
You too, Julianne, and if you give me a follow, come back on the show whenever you want.
Yes,
I might do a part 2 of this topic.
Oh yes, I've already followed you, so don't worry about that.
Awesome. All right, take care. Bye.
Bye. Oh God.
Bye.
Oh God, is it gonna time me out?
Okay, all right. I'm going to leave it there for today. It was always wonderful. I've had some amazing guests on the Stephen Shields radio show. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a new episode every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time as well. You can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Also, too, if you're on Wisdom, follow me on Wisdom. You can listen to the show pre-recorded, or if you want to be on the show, you can be a guest on the podcast as well. It's always wonderful to get people's different perspectives from the other side of the world. Okay, guys, I wish everyone all the best. Bye for now.